All right, guys, my name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sehan. I am really, really excited about this. As I always am, I just love meeting new guests and working with new people and introducing you guys to new realities, new people. We're so diverse. We have so many fun things that are different about each other. And I believe that that's what helps us to be better as people, as a collective. I know for myself, I've had some really great teachers and support over the years in my past, as you know, Bob Stevens, John Paul Jackson, Paul Keith Davis, and Kim Clement and Graham Cook, and just some amazing men and some very, very amazing women as well. And here we are now, in this moment of time, and I found myself really requiring some help. And what happened is a friend of mine, Jen from Montana, a dear friend of mine, she told me about this beautiful lady that we're going to talk to today and her skill set. And it's been very, very nourishing to my heart and just very, very supportive. So I wanted to just go over a couple announcements and just remind you guys. We have this show every Thursday at noon. So, hit that subscribe button. What we've been noticing with analytics is we have way more viewers than we do subscribers. And what that means is when we have new things coming up, if you're not subscribed and getting that notification, then you won't find out about all these new people. You'll have to be hit or miss. So it really does help us to know who's following and who's what our analytic data is, just by you hitting that subscribe. But also for you, of course, that means you're going to get to know everything that's happening and you're going to get a heads up so you don't miss anything. That's fun. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, comment to know actually where you are. We want to know what city, what state, what country, wherever, because I want to get to know you guys better too and just know who I'm talking to. So if you do that for me, that would be great. Without further ado, I'm just going to call you Z. That's what I've been calling you.
Yep.
She came into my life here recently, and there's been some stuff going on in everybody's lives. And for me, having a coach or someone in my life to kind of see maybe some spots that I'm not seeing or to get a different perspective. Of course, I have my friends, but and my family. I'm very, very blessed to have my parents. But sometimes it's good to get someone who doesn't know anything about you that can kind of look at things from a broader, big picture, from a far away, that is going to give you a very clear perspective without all of the emotions, without the friend tie or the family tie, where because sometimes people will just tell you, like what you want to hear because they're your friend and they just are rooting for you instead of like what may be really going on. And
Yep.
so I really appreciate you helping me see some things that I haven't seen all the way till this morning. A matter of fact,
Yep.
we've had like 3 or 4 talks now. But for the viewers who are watching and who don't know anything about you, maybe there's people that do know about you, but for the people who don't, how in the world did you get in this space in the first place? Like what got you here?
Sure. It's actually a story of miracles. So I'm going to bring that up and forward first. I work as a quantum transformational guide. And essentially, what that means is I'm going to look at the energy field, the quantum field, the field of everything that we're connected to, broken down into particles, broken down into vibration and frequency. And I'm just a guide to look into those spaces and see what patterns are reoccurring, what programs are still stuck, what is keeping people stuck in themselves so they're not experiencing the essence of themselves, for one, their truest expression, and understanding that they can be full and abundant and in love and community with others. That heading back into how I got started into that, I had a series of near-death experiences would be the first aspect to that. When I was little, I do have good memory of understanding that there was something bigger than myself out there. I would have all kinds of visions, dreams, communication with, you could say it's the other side. I would say it's the quantum field, something a little bit higher, angels. Okay. When I got into my teens, I started to get very sick. And I didn't understand what was happening to my body. I went into many doctors over and over and over again, and they would say, "Hey, like you have a deformation in your spine, or your thyroid's off, or your stomach's off." And I'd be like, "Okay, well, what is my next step to this?" It got so bad that I was really sensing and seeing the other side of this, something bigger. Okay, there were beings that were coming in to see me, saying, "Hey, like your system is you are very sick right now, but you're also going to be okay." And so my interaction with that other side in that realm got very close to me, and down to the point where I had an understanding that I was going to go. There's this understanding. They would come in and support my process, and when it got very close, and I saw that coming in, I was actually at work at the time. I was working as a hospice aide, and in somebody's house. Working with their kids, and they had just gotten off to school, and I got back in the house and the lights blew out, and I felt very, very, very sick, and I heard, "Just lie down." And so when I did that, I watched my energy, my essence shift out of my crown, and I looked at my body and I was like, "Okay, this is seriously something that's happening." But it was a really beautiful experience. And I was definitely guided by my family, my ancestors, angels, into a space that felt very familiar to me. It felt like home. And so in that time period, I was there for an infinite amount of time. And I remember them kind of telling me, "Hey, you have this choice to come back there. And also, you have a choice to stay if you'd like. But if you do go back, you can be able to assist and help in a way that you never thought was possible, and heal your body in a way you never thought was possible." So I did end up coming back into the body, and went into the hospital, did that whole thing, and everything was gone. Everything in my system was gone. Everything was cleared. I had my energy back. There was no, my spine was straight, and that connection to the other side was just as clear as I see you now.
That is crazy. That is so cool. And I kind of been binge watched a lot of NDEs over the years just because, as you know, I've had a lot of death in my family, especially this last year. Um, there was just, yeah, an opportunity for me to really connect with that. And I had an encounter with a guy named Bob Jones where I didn't die, but we had this thing that happened, and I felt the same thing. Like I left and
Yep.
I saw all this stuff, and then I could hear him, but I couldn't see him, and he was saying, "Okay, you have to come back now." And I was like, "No." And he was like, "No, no, no, you got to come back now." And I was like, "No, that's okay. I'm cool." And then the third time he said, "No, you got to come back." I was back without having really a choice. So you were given a choice,
Yep.
and you were on that brink of death or died. Like
Yep.
for me, I was very much alive and going through, just whatever I was going through. But that's really, really interesting. And when you came back, I mean, because I know how you work with me, do you feel like that changed not just your body to heal, but to kind of see things differently and to be able to work with others? And
Absolutely.
explain to everybody kind of like how you do work with others with the gifting that you have from that.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it is in the world of energy. It's a dynamic where I have the ability to kind of just see what's resonating in someone's biofield, their body, what kind of, again, I'm going to say programming they have, what kind of repeat programs that they have in their system, all the way down to what are their cells doing? What is each organ doing? Because each organ has a frequency. And so when that after I had that near death and that came piling through, I understood with the kids that I was working with that one of them at least had a cancer piece in their body, the other one had stones, and so I had the father go and take them into the hospital to make sure that everything was checked, and it was right down to a T on what that was. I just had an understanding of how the mechanisms looked in the body. And that's how I do work with people. I come in and meet you at an equal front, seeing, hey, where are you at? I'd like to co-create with you today. Let's see where we can go with what would you like in your reality? How would you like to feel? Right? Because if we're talking about resonance and frequency, which is a vibration, I'm looking to get you into shifting into what you would really like in your reality. What would you like to perceive in your reality? How would you like to perceive? And if there is anything sitting in the body, whether that is something that is feeling really sick, which is generally tied to an emotion or a pattern that's stuck in there, I want to take a look at that. I'm going to take a zoom out and kind of see everybody as a radio, where you have so many different types of channels working on every single part of your body. And it goes beyond that. If we're looking at a soul resonance and where it's been, what it looks like past the body, there might be something in, I would say, multidimensional space, or something past that that's coming into the system that also needs to be worked out. So I'm working on the soul, I'm working on the environment, I'm working on programming. I get very human and real with you guys, because I also want you guys to understand that you have the empowerment to be yourselves, and also do this yourselves. That's the biggest thing that I work with here.
Cool. So. Yeah. And I like that, because then there's not that codependent dance thing going on, where it's like, oh, hey, can you do this for me? You actually give homework and
I do.
You do it together. Yeah. And with the people you work with, what are some of the most common things that you see that can be like disruption in the energy field?
I would say the biggest one that I do see is fear. Fear is the one that creates the massive disruptor in most situations in your system, in your body, and also in your environment. So that would be the first thing that I take a look at. And it's honestly to greet it with as much unconditional love as possible, right? It's a part of us. It's something that we can work with. And if it's acknowledged in the right way, understanding that our systems are honestly biologically created to have that fear piece all the way back from the beginning, right? But if we can work with that frequency and energy and understand that can actually be transmuted through love, or in awareness of, I am afraid of this, and yet I also know that I'm something far greater than this fear, then that can transmute itself and shift into something else. And so I'd say that's the first thing that I take a look at.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. How much, when you are doing this, it's like, are you physically, like, visually seeing something in their field, or is it like a knowing inside, or do they tell you and that's like how does that work for you, or what, you know what I mean?
Well, essentially, everybody is unique to their own, and that's where I come in that as a perspective. I want to see where they're at, what they're feeling. Sometimes, if they can't tell me like what they're wanting to experience, or they don't know why they're there to see me, then it's just a communication point of like, okay, what are you feeling in your body? What does that look like? And I take it very much so into they're the ones that are doing it, even though I can see the resonance in the body. It's not my job to work their process for them. I'm here to hold some space for you and see if we can't get you into feeling and resonating at a different level for yourself. That way you do have the empowerment piece there.
That's really cool too. And you can do all this remote. You don't have to do it like in real life, although you do see people in real life, I'm sure.
Yep.
So it's all over Zoom or phone whenever people are coming to you. What would be like some of the most crazy fun things that you've seen as a result of people working with you?
Oh my gosh, so many, so many. I would say my favorite experiences that I've had with people is them interacting with their inner child and bringing that back into the space as a resonance. So whether that's they haven't explored or experienced so much joy in their life, or they're not exactly sure how to hit that point, when I work with them to a point where they can actually feel excitement, passion, and joy for what they're doing, where their life is going, even though they might not know, that's the greatest experience for me. So I've worked with people who have literally been, in psych wards or deeply ill in the hospital, and within just a few sessions of understanding the energy field and giving them some space and support to be themselves, they've walked out of there even in a couple of days with some joy on their face. Like that part of them doesn't exist anymore because the resonance field shifted out of their existence.
Wow. Yeah, I think play for me especially, and I mean, this world is very hustle bustle, or at least that's been my experience of just like go go go, all the screens and technology and everything so fast and working hard, and I've had to actually schedule play. Like, it's got to the point where I'm like, okay, this is a day off, and I mean, and like no taking in like one more client here or there, or this is time with my mom and dad, or this is time with my kids, and I don't always stick to my own boundaries, but your level of play to kind of dance with your own inner child, like do you take them back into envisioning themselves as a kid, or like how do you incorporate that into the now of the inner child?
Right. So I will take them back into, okay, well, what was the childhood piece like for you? I just open up the space for that. I will do visualizations. I will do like inner body somatic work. I will do a little bit of herbology or whatever the body is kind of needed at the moment to take them back into a space of like, oh, hey, maybe just remember what that was like. And if there is space of trauma in there or density, or they're not quite sure what that was like, then I'm going to open the space to, well, hey, let's be curious about what it could like if you brought in some play. Let's get curious here. And I feel like curiosity and adventure and play, paired with your authenticity, is at the highest frequency you can get. If you can keep up in that space and at least like schedule some time for play, or how can your work be play? You're keeping your resonant field very high, and it attracts what you want to you by also doing that.
Awesome. Well, um if people, I know we have a group meeting, we have our member meeting that we do monthly, and you are going to be showcased as our guest, to not only share your skills, but to work with some people in real life, like in person,
For
or
sure.
answer Q&A. This is going to be April the 6th, at noon. And tell us a little bit about what people can expect for showing up to that.
I would say, first off, come with curiosity and some questions. And I'll express a little bit about how I perceive and how I work with energetic fields and dynamics. And also maybe just give you a little bit of an insight on how you can do that for yourself.
Very cool. Very cool. We'll have to make sure Jen is invited to that too. Is
Yes.
the genesis of this entire thing. Where can people find you as far as like a website or contact, and how do people schedule with you?
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
and
So go
don't
ahead.
you, oh, sorry, don't you do retreat and stuff too? I want to make that up. Don't you have in-person kind of things you do?
Yes. So I do have a website. It's the-zcollective.com. I do have my YouTubes and TikTok that I'm just barely starting up. I wanted to make sure that my energy was clean to do that. So that is on the start right now. I did send those links to you that you can pop in there underneath there if you like. So the-zcollective.com. And then I do in-persons. Those would be my favorite. I love working one-on-one. And I also do mentorships, like a 5-week mentorship. If you would like to work with me and understand more about how I work with energy, what that looks like, and if you kind of want to get into this realm, that's a good place for that. And then on my website, I do have a community that I work with in co-creation with a lovely other co-creator, Honey C. Golden. And we work with bridging higher consciousness. So we do teach classes, we do skill sets, we work in with the community, and that's a lovely place to be as well.
And where are you located?
I'm in Utah right now.
Beautiful place. Very
Yep,
beautiful place to be.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I should be coming up there this summer, and I have to like hit you up
Heck
and
yes.
see each
Yeah,
other in real life. I know one of the first times I met you, you were like, "Oh, I'm doing a cacao ceremony tonight, so I'll have to wait until after or whatever." But you do quite a few different type of
I
um,
do. Yep,
yeah,
yep,
and
I do,
I love that. I love that you're so broad and bringing in the different things. It's like meditations, or
for
just the
sure.
whole community piece. Speaking of community, remind what the Z Collective is, because I don't know if we covered that.
Sure. Yeah. So the Z Collective is kind of a multiple perspective, quantum based channel that I work through. And this channel comes in, it comes in from many different places, but just allows me the point of being able to channel and work with the energy in a high frequency way, and also be present with people in a way that allows them to see themselves. I would say that would be the culmination of what the Z Collective is.
Very cool. Very cool. And for those of us who are watching and going through our version of whatever role we're playing in this season and this time on this dent of a planet right here,
Yep.
so much happening on a collective all the way down to our individual, things that are happening and or we're creating, whatever that, it's both. What would you say to people who are just struggling? Like, what is your biggest thing that you do tell people, like, to encourage them to kind of get out of that, besides like interplay? How can we keep the frequency? How can we stay above the snake line?
Right. First off, I would say with those who have been in suffering, I just want to say I see you, and like you're valid in where you're at right now. I would say that's the first thing, is because when we embrace where we're at in that piece, it gives us some room to grow a little bit. And also bringing up the frequency where we're at right now in the collective, we're wanting to co-create with each other. So if you kind of just reach out for support, or find a little bit of group that kind of fills into the same energy that you're working with, that is something that's also going to really transmute the energy, and just give you a little bit of space to be yourself and shift into something a little bit more on, I'm not going to say higher, but a little bit more you. So that the more that you are yourself, from my perspective and authenticity, the more you're going to increase your frequency. So that's what I say to them. And also, give yourself just some love and respect for where you're at. Give yourself some gratitude for the suffering or the piece that's not feeling good right now, because that gets to take a lot of presence in your existence. And the more you do kind of say, yeah, this is happening to me, it's not great. And also, so I'm going to circle the word and also here, there might be something different for me that I can shift into, right? There might be something else out there. And if you can get into, there's possibilities here, even though I'm feeling in this space, you're going to allow yourself to resonate at a different frequency and connect to maybe some of the others that are in the same space, where you guys have the ability to work together.
Yeah, I think that's powerful. And I love what you said, because it kind of circles back to where we started, is perspective.
Perspective.
I know a lot of times I could be, in a tunnel vision kind of situation, and then this is what I'm seeing, this is all that I'm seeing, and I'm so in it and tied to it emotionally that I'm not seeing the bigger picture and the possibilities and or the perspective from either the other person or maybe even about myself, to know like, hey, this could be good for me. This is, for me in some ways. And what am I going to do now? And you've really helped give me some tools. We had some really good miracles that happened just honestly within one session of working with you. It just sped up the frequency, and, some money things, some relational things, some opportunities came really, really fast. It was pretty instant for me to really be able to put my finger on, go, okay, from that day, that these are the things that came from that. And I didn't even put it all together until when I was talking to Jen. Jen was like, did you get that appointment? What happened since then? And then I talked to you and I was like, well, you know what? All these things have happened since then. So sometimes I think it's just, again, working with someone from the outside who can kind of give you that little boost or encouragement or new way to look at things, to inspire and encourage and help,
Exactly.
push things along a little bit more. And so that I appreciate you very much. I really, really very much look forward to April the 6th at noon when we get.
Absolutely.
And I want to invite all of you guys to be a member. To, this is something, I'll put all the information down at the bottom, but we do giveaways. We have discounts on our website, specific to our members. And then we kind of like side things that we don't publish out to everyone, that are content, just for them. And then we have our member meeting. We don't always get to do one every month, just because of the way things fall with Craig and I and our schedules. But I'm really looking forward to this one. So I hope you guys check that out. And I hope you check out her website. I hope you check out her offerings, her services, her community, and get to know her a little bit. And any final words that you have before we go, and then just remind everybody about your website one more time, just so we have that again.
Absolutely. And the thing that I would culminate the most is that I appreciate each and every one of you. I know that we're all interconnected, and I just bring this in a lot of unconditional love for all of you, and appreciation for who you are, what expression you are, and the way that you present yourself here in the human reality. My website again is the-zcollective.com.
Awesome. Pretty simple, straightforward. And I am at drsharnael.com. You guys can always find me there. I'm on all the social medias, just like Z is. And hopefully we can connect somewhere and see each other again in April the 6th.
Yeah.
That's just a month away. And I'm really,
Yay.
really excited to be with you guys and to play with you guys. So have a
Mhm.
wonderful rest of the day to everyone watching.
Yeah.
Hit the share. You have no idea. Could be someone who's watching this and it literally nourishes their soul and gives them some encouragement and some hope. So hit the
Absolutely.
share, hit the comments, give this out to your friends, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.